Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast. We are live Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern on Talk4TV, W4WN.com, and my YouTube channel. Today, we will be continuing to talk about mind over money, mastery for financial success. And today we'll be talking about and continuing to talk about how your emotions affect your financial decisions. We'll explore your feelings, beliefs, behaviors, and how your subconscious mind affect your financial behaviors from spending to saving, investing, and budgeting. Learn how to break free from financial stress, create a healthier mindset, and simply gain a deeper understanding of your financial habits so that you can live an inspired and empowered life. Together, let's create a life you love. I'm your host, Nanci Deutsch, licensed clinical social worker, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive breakthrough expert. And I combine my counseling, coaching, and intuitive abilities to transform your life. And this show is not a replacement for therapy or counseling. It is for educational purposes only. So welcome. So the last few shows we've been talking about how much your financial decisions are based on your subconscious patterns, not patterns. And your subconscious patterns. And we have Allie in the house. Good morning, Allie. Your subconscious patterns are the parts of you. So I'm going to go, for those of you who may be just joining us, I'm going to give you my quick Psych 101 lesson. We have our conscious mind, which is the part of you that decided to join today. And your conscious mind is the part of you that makes conscious decisions in present time that empowers you to create financial freedom, to create financial security, to do the things with awareness and consciousness. Your subconscious mind is the part of you from the moment you were conceived to present time, has recorded every moment that you've been alive. And what happens is you have all the good emotions and feelings and beliefs, and then you also have the trauma, and you have limiting beliefs and emotions that keep you from creating what you want. Financial security, financial freedom. And it's those subconscious beliefs and emotions that need to become aware of and then cleared. And then you have your superconscious mind, which is the part of you. I call it your higher self, this wise, unconditionally loving part of you, and your soul, and all your angels and guides and beings of light that are here to support you on your journey, including deceased loved ones. And in your subconscious mind may also be the limiting beliefs and emotions from your loved ones, your ancestors, and excuse me, your ancestors and past lives. So, before we get into today's show and go deeper into new information, I just want to make sure that we review, and I have some questions from last week that I want to answer and make sure that I answer. So, we've been talking about how those subconscious patterns really affect you on every level, and affect your financial decisions in present time. And when you have a reaction, when you feel triggered, when you have an emotional reaction to your finances, could be fear, it could be frustration, it could be anger. When you have those emotions, you know you're being affected from your past situations. And I also want to make it really clear that even though you may have financial stress in the present time, what you learned about money and what you learned about finances when you were growing up as a child, and also also in your DNA, believe it or not, yes, your DNA, your ancestors can be affecting your finances, and your past lives. So know that all of these factors can be part of what's going on for you financially. So let's get to questions. And I'm hoping that those that ask the questions are here so they get to hear their answers. And the first question from last week is, this is from Mickey. What if you are in present time moving along, and then you get sucked back into past thoughts or unfinished business? So what do you do? Well, what you do is okay, I see your question, Anastasia, and I will get to that. So what you do is as soon as you become aware, oh, I'm reacting, I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling angry or frustrated or getting triggered emotionally with the feelings of fear, anger, shame, guilt, grief, any of those emotions. Now, I'm not saying don't feel them. I'm saying you want to feel them and let them move through you, and you want to clear them as soon as you can. So if you get sucked back into the past, it's either, and if you're somewhere where, let's say, you can't do a clearing, let's say you're at work or you're in a social event and you're aware that you've gotten triggered by something someone said or something that you discovered or whatever it is, what I suggest that you do is that you then say, okay, I'm being triggered right now. I'm aware I'm being triggered, and I will deal with this later when I can. So when you get home from work, or when you get home from the social event, or when you get home from your friend's house, or whatever it is. You want to be able to deal with what is really going on, asking your questions like, what is triggering me? What am I feeling? And how does this relate to something that happened in the past? Like, you want to look at the similar feelings that you felt from when you were growing up. And that is part of what you can do to come back into present time. Okay. And so if you get sucked back into the past, you take a breath, breathe, ground yourself into present time, keep moving forward. If you can't work, that's what I want to support you in doing. And I see you have a question, Misty, too. And I will get to the questions from today as soon as I finish the questions from last week. So the next question from last week was, why does stress and worry come up first in most of these? Are they the go-to reaction? So, yes, they are the go-to reactions. What happens is when you're feeling financial stress, there are old beliefs like, I can't do this. I'm not going to make it. I don't know how I'm going to survive. And those beliefs, believe it or not, are not necessarily from present time. And so what happens, and also what happens is your nervous system, when when humans were made, we had to have the stress response, which is fight, flight, or freeze. And what happens is that when you get triggered, you're actually going to something from your past where you are having a reaction to some limiting belief or emotion that keeps you stuck, or that it's your default pattern. I call it the default pattern, the pattern that you just go right back to. And that's what happens. So what's really important is that you work on understanding what the default pattern is, so that you can then be able to not have to react so strongly or react so quickly. And here's the thing. Remember, a reaction is coming from your subconscious mind. It's instinctual. It's something, the stress reaction is instinctual. It happens. And so the most important thing is not that you're reacting, but how quickly you can come back from that reaction. That's what I want you to remember. All right. I see we got lots of questions coming in. Okay. One more from last week, and then we'll get to this week's questions. Why does stress and worry? Okay. So those, I said that was the go-to reactions. And then Misty asked last week, is there time to think things out before reacting? Taking the time to think things out first. But how are we to know if what our gut reaction is? So what happens is when you are reacting, again, the reaction is coming from your subconscious mind. It's your default. It's your go-to pattern. And your go-to pattern is going to come up. Okay, so you may not be able until you shift, okay, until you shift the beliefs and the emotions that create that reaction. When once you started shifting the beliefs and emotions, you may not go into the reaction. Now, here's the thing. I also want you all to know we're all human. Okay. And there are going to be times we're all going to go into reaction. I know. Listen, I go into reaction. I haven't conquered it all. And I don't know if you can as a human being. It's part of being human. And again, I'm going to repeat, it's not that it's not never going into a reaction. It's how quickly you can come back. And also it's also working on you being able to work through the limiting beliefs and the emotions so that you don't have to have that reaction. That's powerful. And that is within your ability to keep on going and working through. Working through. That's right. Okay. So I know we have lots of questions from today. So let's start getting the questions from today. So I know Anastasia said, how do ancestors affect financial matters? Okay. So remember I said that this is really, it's absolutely fascinating to me. There is research called epigenetics, a branch of research and study. And epigenetics is studying your DNA. It's studying the effects from your genetics and your ancestors. And what happens is that your genetics, your ancestors are going to affect you. And you have actually perhaps picked up ancestral trauma, beliefs, and emotions that are in your ancestral line. And so what happens is when you have a belief around money, around finances that is affecting you, one of the things you want to ask yourself is, how are my ancestors affecting this belief? And is this something that ancestrally has run through my family lines? Like, for example, and this is just coming to me, if any of you have Irish heritage, and what happens is there were famines, and I'm just giving Ireland Irish heritage, but know that this could be any heritage, okay, where there's been famines and just really famine, and they were really suffering with food and money, and there was a lot of poverty. And if you can have that in your ancestral line, so whether you were Irish or you had other genetic components, like it could be there, in Russia, that was what we call pogroms, and they would go after the Jewish people. And what happens is that trauma can be, if you are Jewish, you could have that kind of trauma in your ancestral line. And all of that can affect. And also, if you have any kind of ancestors, whether you were Jewish or another nationality that were in the Holocaust, 11 million people died. there could be ancestral patterns related to all of that. And that's just a few examples of nationalities and what trauma might have happened through your ancestral lines. And when you have that ancestral trauma and it affects you, it can definitely keep affecting you. And I know this for a fact because when I work with clients, time and again, I am clearing the ancestral trauma from my clients. Wherever they came from, whatever nationality, we all have that in our ancestral line. I don't really believe that any of us can come through and today not be affected somehow, some way about our ancestors. If you think about your ancestors, most of the time, your ancestors a lot of times struggled to survive. Now, you may have some ancestors that were wealthy. Now, if you had wealthy ancestry, then you can also have the positive beliefs. And the positive beliefs about money and finances can also contribute to what you believe. So it can work both ways. So that's an example. So Anastasia or any of you, let me know if that answers your question and if you have any other questions around that. So Misty asks, can most things be dealt with at a later time? Well, yes and no. It really depends. So if you are getting so triggered with some type of emotion, and if you're getting triggered by some type of emotion, like all of a sudden you start bursting out in tears or crying, or and again, I also want to remind you, we're all human and it can happen to all of us. And part of working on yourself, and this we did shows on emotional intelligence. And the more that you can have emotional regulation and emotional intelligence, and you may still, if you have something going on in your life right now, like you're in the middle of a divorce or you have some major financial stuff going on, you may be more susceptible to things that are going on for you. And that is going to be something that can affect you in present time. And know that your past or your issues can be affecting you. Okay. And your job is to gain that emotional mastery, emotional regulation. And so that if you, let's say, feel like you want to cry because you have a reaction and you haven't resolved the issue yet, breathe. Now, some of you may end up crying. I know, and I will share this. There were times where I was going through things in my life where I was in the middle of work and I ended up crying. And or you I and what's important for you to remember is what can you do in the moment to take care of yourself. If you need to excuse yourself and go to the bathroom to gain composure and regroup, do it. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. So know that you can do what you need to do in the moment, and hopefully if you can deal with it at a later time. Now, if you have the opportunity to deal with it in the moment, go for it. It's always, if you have an emotional reaction and you have the ability to say, oh, you know what, I need to deal with this right now, do it. Go for it. So it really depends on your situation, what's happening for you in the moment. If you can, deal with it in the moment. If you can't, then you do it at a later time. And definitely want to support you all in doing that. Okay, so the next question from Country Corners Gazette. If we are still feeling these past feelings, should we do something to move past it? Okay, so two things. One is there are times where you're going to need to feel the feeling. And really, I want to support what's most important is to feel the feeling and move through it. I remember one of my mentors said that if you allow yourself to really go into a feeling, 17 seconds, and you may be through the feeling out through the other side. Now, again, this all depends on where you're at and what's happening for you. If you can feel the feeling and let it move through you, and one of the best ways to let a feeling move through you is using your breath and just allowing the energy, because what feelings are, emotions, is energy that wants to move, energy in motion. So remember that feelings, emotions want to move through you. And then you want to be able to allow that emotion to move through you and then come back to present time where you can feel relief or peace or coming back. And there's a sense, maybe even joy. I've had clients where I've helped them work through an emotion or helped them work through an issue that was coming up for them. And by the end of the session, they're like, yay, like having fun or feeling peaceful or joyful. And that's the power of what can happen when you allow the emotions to flow. And now, one of the emotions that needs to become aware of and transform pretty quickly is shame. Now, shame, when you honestly, the only way that emotions, especially emotions like shame, can be helpful is that there's something that you need to heal. Shame is an emotion that leads to feelings of unworthiness, not feeling deserving, totally affecting your finances. You may have shame about how you've handled your finances in the past or what's going on for you in the present. And shame needs to be transformed as quickly as you can. And you can ask, and you can ask for help from your higher self and your soul and your guides and angels to transform your emotions, especially shame. Now, guilt is also one you want to transform quickly, but there's two types of guilt. One guilt is where you know that you've done something wrong and you want to make amends. And that's actually healthier guilt, okay? Because you do want to let it all go. But the guilt where you feel guilty because you feel guilty because you were made to be guilty or people guilted you, not healthy guilt, needs to be let go. So really important to work on getting at the cause of the emotion and letting it go. And, here's the thing. You can let the emotion flow, and then you can also ask the question when you're feeling in a quieter place, because that's when your intuition can come through and give you clarity about what's coming up and why and what's happening for you. Because the more awareness that you have, the more that you get to the cause of an issue, the more you will be able to transform it. So, and what I also, it's really important to work on doing the transformation, getting to the cause, understanding what's being triggered, what are you reacting to? Because once you understand that, then you can actually become very conscious of what you can do to shift it. That's really crucial. So, and I want to share with you, I'm really excited. I have a masterclass. So, any of you who want more freedom and fulfillment, this is for women only. Sorry, men, but women only, freedom and fulfillment, 3 steps to boost your income in your soul aligned business. So if you are looking to start a business, grow a business, transform your business and your finances, then you want to join us. So if you're a woman coach, healer, therapist, entrepreneur, you want to be here at the masterclass. And during the masterclass, we're going to talk about how to break free from limiting beliefs, learn how to tap into your intuition in a deeper way. And then you're going to get into action. Like, what step or steps do you need to move forward to transform your finances and your business? And you're going, so Rebel, can you put in the chat? In the chat, it's inspiredandempoweredliving.com/masterclass. So you want to join us if you're a woman, coach, healer, therapist, entrepreneur. And inspiredandempoweredliving.com/masterclass. And it's this Thursday, July 11th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And I look forward to having you join us. So thank you. Again, inspiredandempoweredliving.com/masterclass, masterclass. So join us. All right. So now we're going to have more questions. All right. So getting back to the questions, we have Misty asks, how can we change those beliefs? So the first thing that you need to do is you can't change a belief that you're not aware of. And you need to become aware of the belief that needs to be changed. So then you're going to be doing, that's the first step. The second step is you want to do some kind of clearing once you know the belief. Like if you feel, I don't feel worthy, or I don't feel good enough. I don't feel good enough to have financial freedom. I don't feel worthy and deserving of having financial success. Those beliefs need to be cleared in some way. So, and remember, I talk about 2 types of clearing. The first type of clearing is you want to clear the energy for the day. And clearing the energy for the day is you may be meditating or writing, journaling, or doing EFT, tapping, or you do self-hypnosis, because I teach hypnosis. So doing hypnosis, self-hypnosis. You want to find a way to clear the energy for the day so that you're in what I call higher vibe. You're in higher vibrations, that you've gotten to the place where you've moved through the emotions or the issues so that you're feeling peace, love, joy, gratitude. Those are the emotions of your higher self, that wise, unconditionally loving part of you and your soul. And those are what you can do to work on clearing. Now, the deeper clearing. Now, very often there may be subconscious beliefs and issues that you may need support and you may need help in uncovering. And so that's where, let's say, it depends. If you have a lot of trauma, you may need a therapist, a counselor. And if you really want to move forward in your life and really shift what you want to do in your life, you would want to get a coach. And so a counselor, therapist, coach can help you uncover those limiting beliefs that are deeper seated that you may not be aware of. I can't even tell you how many times I'm working with a client and we do some work, body-centered work or hypnosis, and then all of a sudden they discover a belief. They were like, wow, I had no clue. That's what happened. So hopefully, and again, the deeper clearing is necessary, really important. Now, you can do writing to get at those limiting beliefs. Now, this is really interesting. What happens is you may do writing and you start writing down and journaling things. And then all of a sudden, you don't like, if you are unconscious or it's in your subconscious mind and you don't even realize that it's a limiting belief because it's so ingrained in you. That's a lot of times why you need somebody else to help you to move through stuff. So really important. So hopefully that helps you. And Anastasia says, how can we notice a pattern and change it before reacting? So the best way to do that is to take a reaction you've already had. So when you start noticing that you're having a reaction and you are reacting to something, and then you're like, okay, you've done what you needed to do in the moment. You're going to ask yourself, what was I reacting to? What was the belief? What was the feeling? You want to unpack it. You want to understand it. And as you understand it more, as you discover, then you can start clearing it. But you can't clear it until you understand it more deeply. And so learning how to be able to do that is really powerful. And then what happens is as you start clearing and clearing the limiting beliefs, now it may not be something that's going to be able to be cleared overnight. If you have a very deep-seated belief, it may take a while for you to process through. Like something like, I don't feel worthy, could be very deep-seated. And that unworthiness can be something that you need to work on time and again in order for you to get at the level, like to really get at the bottom, the cause of what that unworthiness is. And also know layers of an onion. that we are like layers of the onion. And so you may get one level of it, and then you need to go deeper and deeper until you get to the core. And what happens is you start noticing that you don't react, or you don't react as intensely as you did. And that's how you know that you're healing. That's how you know that you are moving through it and that you've cleared and you're working through it. So that's part of what you can do to help you. Now, I know that we have other questions that came in. And what I'm going to do is we will start with the questions that came in. We are going to start with those questions in next week's show. Okay, so obviously I just keep feeling, because there's information that I didn't even get to that I really want to share with you more. So guess we're doing part 4, and we're going to keep on going until you feel like you're understanding more and you're getting it and you're able to start making shifts that you need to make. So now I want to share with you again, for those of you available, my masterclass, Freedom and Fulfillment, 3 Steps to Boost Your Income in Your Soul Aligned Business, this Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And the link has been in the chat. We're going to go into talking about breaking free from those limiting beliefs, how to tap into your intuition, and how to get into action so that you can really start creating an income or boosting your income from your soul aligned business. So whether you're starting it or wanting to grow it, this masterclass is for you. So go to inspiredandempoweredliving.com/masterclass. And again, inspiredandempoweredliving.com/masterclass. And we will continue with questions from this week's show. We'll continue next week. And we'll have more inspired and empowered living for you in next week's show. So stay tuned, everybody. I wish you. And our shows are Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, my YouTube channel, and on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, and Apple. So catch us anytime. And I look forward to connecting with you next week. I hope you have an inspired and empowered day and an inspired and empowered week. Bye for now.